In 2017, satellite images showed a plume of smoke rising from a remote North Korean test site, and within hours, American intelligence agencies confirmed something they had spent decades insisting was still years away. North Korea now possessed a missile theoretically capable of reaching any city in the continental United States. A nation with a GDP smaller than most American states, its people suffering through famine and blackouts so severe that satellite photos of the Korean peninsula at night show the entire country swallowed in darkness beside its glowing neighbor to the south, had somehow built a nuclear arsenal that world powers with 100 times its wealth were forced to take deadly seriously. And the strangest weapon on this list is not a missile or a warhead at all, but a piece of technology so bizarre that even seasoned defense analysts initially assumed the footage was fake, something we will reveal only at the very end of this video. This is the complete documented story of every major weapon North Korea has ever built, smuggled, reverse-engineered, or stolen its way into possessing, and how one of the most isolated and impoverished nations on Earth became a genuine nuclear power that the entire world now watches with quiet dread. Type 68 rifle. North Korea's first domestically produced rifle was a licensed copy of the Soviet AKM, giving the newly formed regime its first taste of independent weapons manufacturing, while remaining entirely dependent on Soviet blueprints and technical assistance to actually build it. Type 88 rifle. An indigenous refinement of the AK platform, the Type 88 incorporated a distinctive underfolding stock and remains the standard North Korean infantry rifle today. Evidence of a defense industry that learned to iterate on borrowed designs rather than simply copying them outright. Hwasong 5 Scud variant. North Korea's first ballistic missile was reverse-engineered from Egyptian Scud-B missiles acquired in the late 1970s, a technology transfer that gave Pyongyang its earliest foothold into a missile program that would eventually consume the majority of the regime's military ambitions. Nodong 1. A significantly extended range evolution of the original Hwasong design, the Nodong 1 gave North Korea the ability to strike Japan directly, and its technology would later be sold to nations including Iran and Pakistan, making North Korea a quiet but consequential proliferator of ballistic missile technology throughout the developing world. Taepodong 1. An early attempt at a multi-stage rocket capable of reaching intercontinental range, the Taepodong 1's 1998 test launch, publicly framed as a satellite launch, alarmed Japan and the United States by demonstrating a level of staging technology far more advanced than most analysts had believed North Korea capable of achieving. Musodan intermediate-range missile. Based on Soviet submarine-launched missile technology acquired through unofficial channels after the USSR's collapse, the Musodan gave North Korea a genuine intermediate-range strike capability, though its testing record was plagued by repeated failures that suggested the reverse-engineered technology was never fully mastered. Hwasong 14. The missile referenced at the very beginning of this video. When North Korea successfully tested the Hwasong 14 in July 2017, demonstrating a range analysts calculated could theoretically strike the continental United States, it fundamentally altered the strategic calculus of the entire Pacific region overnight. Hwasong 15 and Hwasong 17. Even larger intercontinental ballistic missiles that followed, these massive road-mobile systems demonstrated increasingly sophisticated multi-stage separation and re-entry vehicle technology, with the Hwasong 17 becoming one of the largest liquid-fueled ballistic missiles ever paraded by any nation on Earth. First nuclear test. 2006. North Korea's first nuclear detonation produced a yield so small that some Western analysts initially questioned whether the test had actually succeeded, evidence of a nascent program still working through fundamental design challenges. Sixth nuclear test, 2017. By its sixth and most powerful test, seismic data suggested a yield potentially exceeding 250 kilotons, over 15 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, confirming that North Korea had progressed from a crude, unreliable device to something approaching a genuinely sophisticated thermonuclear weapon design. Hwasong 1 submarine-launched missile, giving North Korea a second strike capability that could theoretically survive a first attack on its land-based missile sites. The Hwasong 1 represented a significant leap in strategic sophistication, even though the aging Soviet-era submarine platform it launches from remains widely considered obsolete by modern standards. Sinpo-class submarine. a small, experimental ballistic missile submarine developed specifically as a testbed for the Hwasong missile family. The Sinpo class remains crude by the standards of American or Russian submarines, but its mere existence demonstrated North Korea's determination to develop a survivable nuclear deterrent across every military domain. Challimo-1 space launch vehicle, officially a satellite launcher but functionally indistinguishable from an intercontinental ballistic missile testbed, the Challimo-1 program allows North Korea to continue advancing missile technology under the diplomatic cover of a civilian space program, a loophole the regime has exploited for decades. Suicide drone boats. This is the weapon referenced at the beginning of this video. North Korean state media revealed unmanned, explosive-laden naval drones designed to detonate against enemy ships, footage that international analysts initially suspected might be staged or exaggerated propaganda. Subsequent satellite and open-source analysis suggested the program was genuine, representing an unsettling new direction for a nation already willing to pursue almost any asymmetric technology that might offset its overwhelming conventional military disadvantage against South Korea and the United States. North Korea remains one of the poorest and most isolated nations on Earth, its economy a fraction of the size of countries with a tenth of its military ambition, yet it has built a weapons program capable of holding the entire Pacific region hostage to nuclear anxiety. Every weapon on this list tells the same underlying story, a regime willing to starve its own population, defy every international sanction imposed against it, and pour a staggering share of its limited resources into weapons development, driven by the singular conviction that only nuclear deterrence can guarantee its survival. Whatever comes next from Pyongyang's weapons programs, the world has already learned the most unsettling lesson of all. Isolation and poverty are no longer any guarantee against a nation building the tools of mass destruction.